how do you successfully set a New Year's resolution?
Okay. So first thing I'll tell you is uh, most likely we're going to fail. People who succeed at a New Year's resolution have usually attempted that resolution an average of 5 or 6 times. So someone who quits smoking with a New Year's resolution has usually tried 5 or 6 times before. And there's a lot of evidence that there's kind of a cycle of change where sometimes we're not even thinking about it, then we start to think about it, then we make a plan, then we take action, then we have some success. Then after a month, we get off of our diet and we're back to where we were. And, we have to start over. But sometimes we start along at a further stage and we learn something from the previous failed attempt. So, number one, how to succeed, you first have to realize that to some extent, failure is normative and it's still worth trying, but don't be too hard on yourself. For example, Yannick, if you've tried 4 times before to eat more vegetables, and if you failed every time, this might be the year where you're going to do it because it's your fifth or sixth attempt. Okay, so failure is normative. And then the next question, why do we fail? There's very good evidence now that setting a new goal, which is what a resolution is, requires some self-control capacity. You need some spare willpower, a cushion of willpower to take on this new goal on top of all of the other goals you have in your everyday life. So Yannick, you came back to Ottawa or whatever, there's probably a lot of things you have to do. You have to fill up the refrigerator, you have to check in with all the people there's many things you have to do. Now, it turns out that our self-control capacities, it looks like there's a limit. Your limit might be higher than mine, and mine might be higher than another person's, but each of us has an individual limit to how much self-control we can exercise, how much we could push ourselves to do things that we feel need to be done. And because there's a limit, when you set a new goal, you better have a little bit of self-control left in your reservoir. And the evidence suggests that all of us have such busy, complicated, chaotic, motivational lives that we are maxed out. We have nothing to spare. And for New Year's resolutions, people usually set 3 of them. So like my students, they always say, I'm going to get all A's this semester. And then they say, I'm going to exercise 5 times a week. And then they say, I'm going to meet a girl. And those are 3 big new goals. And the problem is we don't have the self-control resources. So my first 2 points, failure is normative. The reason we're failing is because we don't have the self-control. Then the question is, how do you get around this self-control barrier? And there's 3 empirically supported methods. One of them, the first one, and this is my area of research, involves being thoughtful, being sensible about the kinds of goals or resolutions you select. I distinguish between resolutions that you really want to do and that you really care about and that you're interested in versus resolutions that you feel like you have to do, where others are telling you to do it, or where you feel because of guilt feelings it's something you should do. I call these like autonomy and control. And the surprising thing is a lot of our resolutions are coming from a place of control. It's almost like we're not setting them because we want to set them. We're setting them because we feel like we have to or we should. So there's a sense of pressure and coercion. And what that means is we're going to resist that and we're going to be conflicted. And when you're pursuing a goal, you want to feel wholehearted about it. You want to really endorse it. And you want to say, boy, either I'm really interested in this or it's personally valuable and important. It's even better if you could have both those things. So I always recommend don't just set a New Year's resolution on the spur of the moment because it's 11:59 on New Year's Eve. Start thinking about it now. They've shown that people who spend December thinking about what resolution they should set do a better job of selecting a more autonomous resolution and then succeeding. Okay, let's say you followed all of that. You set a really intrinsic or meaningful resolution. So this year I'm going to do a winter pentathlon in Quebec City. I did that 2 years ago and then the pandemic hit, but I've decided I'm going to do it again. Now, by setting that goal, that means I'm going to ski. That means I'm going to bicycle in the winter. It means I'm going to run. It's a lot of fitness activity. Koestner is going to get back out there and he's going to get in shape. Okay, so that's the goal and I'm excited about it. But now here's some bad news. Coming up with a really cool goal, even if it's something that's autonomous or intrinsic, it doesn't get you so far. It's really just an intention. And as we all know, intentions don't guarantee behavior or success. So there's a German researcher named Peter Gollwitzer who has shown that when you have a New Year's resolution and you have a goal, you have to combine it with a mental plan. You have to have a plan that specifies when, where, and how you're going to engage in the behaviors that will help you reach your goal. So if you say, Yannick, that you've been inspired by me and you want to do a 10K, no, you're going to do the Canadian ski marathon, 50 kilometers through the Laurentian Mountains. It's a nice goal, but you have to make a plan then of, okay, when are you going to do your ski training? Are you going to go 3 mornings a week? Are you going to go on the weekends? Are you going to get a Nordic track ski machine? And you have to have a specific plan of where, when, and how. You also have to have a plan for what you do if your first plan doesn't work, if there's an obstacle or distraction. Okay, so now you have your goal, you have your mental plan. The mental plan isn't complicated. It just takes 10 minutes of thinking and writing it down. You have a goal, you have your plan. I'm going to give you one other really special thing that most of us do naturally, but we should even do it more. And that is you want to share your plan with others. The easiest way to do that is to find someone else who will try the same plan with you. And this way, the two of you will be doing it together. You'll be reminded of it. You'll enjoy it more. It will seem more meaningful. And there's research now that suggests that every personal goal is actually interpersonal. Even if your friends and family don't do it with you, they talk to you about it. They ask you about it. They encourage you. We've looked at how other people try to encourage us. And what's most common is people are like cheerleaders. They say, you can do it, Yannick. You're going to be a great cross-country skier. Get out there. I'm proud of you. Or they might see what you're doing and say, Yannick, you're doing it all wrong. You got to do it with wax skis. You have to use wax skis. Don't use the waxless. You won't get anywhere with those. And that's how people usually help us, quote, help us. And it turns out that doesn't help at all. And sometimes it backfires. What's helpful is if people are more invisible in how they help. What's helpful is when people show interest, they ask you about it, they empathize, but they don't get over involved. They don't get invested. They just listen and support you. So I've said 3 things. You select a goal that's interesting, and personally meaningful so that it's autonomous. You have a mental plan that specifies when, where, and how to do it. And then you have other people helping you. So find these people who are like invisible supporters. All three of those things protect our self-control resources so that when you are doing something that's interesting and meaningful, you don't have to push yourself. There's not a motivational wall. Instead, it's coming from you, and it feels effortless as you pursue it. If you have a good plan, and if you do it for like a month, it becomes automatic, and you don't even have to think about it, and you don't have to schedule it, and you don't have to push yourself. And if you have other people involved with you, that's like you're outsourcing some of the self-control responsibility. They're giving you added self-control bonus points. So those three things help us get beyond the inevitable self-control barriers. And I think we should all recognize that a New Year's resolution is important. It would be great if we could do it, but we have to think about the goal we're going to select, how we're going to pursue it, and who we're going to pursue it with. And if you answer those questions, why am I choosing this goal? How am I going to reach this goal? And who is supporting me along the way? And if you have good answers to that, your chances are greatly increased. You still might fail, but that comes with setting goals. And then next year, you'll have a better chance.
That's why knowledge matters.